All right, so if you recall in the last video I uploaded, I talked about how in Spanish we do not use apostrophe S to indicate possession. Sorry, you can't see my full face, but you don't want to see it. We talk about how we don't use apostrophe S to indicate possession in Español. In the last video I uploaded, I talked about possessive adjectives, words like my, your, his, her, okay? But the most common way, all right, since we don't use apostrophe S, we go around kind of a roundabout way in describing. So for example, if you want to say, you know, Mike's book, you know, Mike apostrophe S book, all right? In Español, we would literally say the book of Mike, okay? And so in this case, you have the object or the possession. So it's el libro, okay? Always, 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 you need the word de, okay? And then of course, the owner, okay? Who it belongs to. So in this case, it's Mike, okay? So, sorry, it should just be a dot. El libro de Mike, all right? The book of Mike, or as we would say in English, Mike's book, okay? Now, it doesn't always have to be a proper noun. You don't always have to have a name there, okay? For example, I can say something like, el gato de la hija. Okay? Now, these are vocabulary words that you should be familiar with. So, gato means cat, hija means daughter, okay? So, whereas in English you might say my daughter's cat or the daughter's cat, okay? And let me just go with my daughter, okay? De mi hija, okay? Yeah, my daughter's cat, daughter apostrophe S, cat, okay? Well, in Spanish we would say el gato de mi hija, okay? The cat of my daughter, all right? So that is how we express possession in Español, which leads me to another thing, okay? Because once again, remember, you don't need, okay? It doesn't need to be a proper noun, all right? I mean, you can use names and whatnot. You can also use, you know, common nouns, you know, boy, girl, whatever, all right? But in Español, we don't do apostrophes at all. In addition, in Español, we only have 2 formal contractions in the entire language, okay? So 2, that's it, all right? What's a contraction? Couldn't, shouldn't, don't, all right? Can't, all right? We don't contract words very often. We literally only do it twice, at least twice formally. There's a lot of informal contractions out there, like there are in any language. But for example, if you recall, bolígrafo means pen. That's from the last chapter. And hombre means man, also from the last chapter. Okay, so el bolígrafo de el hombre, the man's pen. Okay, well, here's your contraction. In Spanish, whenever you have the word de right next to the word el, all right, those 2 will always 100% contract into, let's erase those, into del. El bolígrafo del hombre. Okay? So whenever you have de and el, you always have to contract it into del. And I say always because unlike English, where, you know, instead of can't, cannot, don't, do not, contractions are mandatory in Spanish, all right? In English, they're optional. In academic writing, you should never use contractions, all right? But in Spanish, you have to do it. All right, and of course, since we don't use apostrophe S, or I'm sorry, since we don't use apostrophes at all, there's no apostrophes, okay? Once again, this is all in your textbook, so you can go over it, or shoot me a quick email. All right, it's part of tonight's assignment.